Believe it. Okay.
What's going on, Geeks? You'll listen to episode 392 of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. My name is Cody Armour. I'm here with Lj.Lowery.
Yo.
And Shelley Nollan.
Hello.
This week, we're geeking out about EVO, director's cuts we probably don't need, and the Halo TV series. Before we do that, we've been gone for quite a few weeks.
Yeah.
I was in Ireland. It was an amazing trip.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Things.
So, yeah. I've got pictures on Instagram.
The pictures looked awesome.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun taking them. Did all sorts of stuff. We mostly stayed in Dublin and in Belfast. Dublin being the capital, and then Belfast. I think Belfast is the capital too. What I didn't realize is that Ireland is two different countries. I had no idea. So you have, for those who don't know, like me, normal Ireland, and that's part of the European Union, and then you have Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. They have different currencies and everything.
Oh, okay.
That's confusing.
And so, yeah, it was weird. I had no idea. And it seems all very political. I don't know, like, all of what's going on with all of that, but it seems that Ireland definitely doesn't want the UK involved in their Ireland. And then Northern Ireland is a little bit more accepting. But even then, there were, like, flags, and they said that there'll be whole towns that will have Irish flags in Northern Ireland, not UK flags.
Okay.
And so that was like them saying, no, we're part of Ireland, not Northern Ireland, and kind of like revolting against the government that runs them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was odd. But no, everything was absolutely beautiful. We got to go to the Giant's Causeway, which are these amazing, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it, or Instagram again, but they're these hexagonal stones that came up from lava, and they're like these perfectly shaped hexagons cut out in the rock. Really, really cool. Belfast is where Titanic was built, and so we went to a Titanic museum, which was really, really sad, but also really weird because they did like, you run through all the sad Titanic stuff, and then they have a gift shop, and the gift shop selling like a kid's book about Titanic and like a captain's hat that says Titanic on it. I'm like,
That's
I
a
don't
bit
know,
awkward.
guys. Yeah, it's so strange. I don't know how I feel about that, but learned a lot about all of the things that went wrong with Titanic. That was really interesting.
Huh.
I also didn't realize how old everything in Ireland is. For whatever reason in my head, I've been telling everyone this. Like, in my mind, just because it's never occurred to me, anything pre the United States, like, you got to dig up in my mind historically. Like, it's not there anymore. I was like, I know there's castles around, but I was like, for the most part, like, nothing, like, there's nothing there pre-American history in my mind. I
imagine, like, a lot of buildings and roads and stuff probably stayed the same.
Yeah, they're all so old. Like, Dublin itself is full of so many buildings that are older than the United States. Like, I didn't realize just how new America was until I went to a pub that was built in 1160.
That's so cool.
It was so wild.
Makes time feel like insignificant.
Yeah. Every town we went to had its own castle. Not all of them were still standing, but like a lot of them were. Yeah, that really blew my mind. They say that Guinness, you're supposed to drink Guinness in Ireland because it's different than here in the United States. And I did not believe them. I don't like beer. I'm not a beer guy. Do drink for those listening. But not beer. Beer's not for me. And more of a cider, which Rockshore cider, it was green apple flavored, delicious. Not my point, but like, I'll go on that tangent. Everything that was like flavored something there actually tastes like the flavor and not like an artificial flavor of that thing.
That's cool.
So it was a Rockshore cider. It was made with green apples, and it actually tastes like green apples. It was so good.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're like, you got to try the Guinness. And I told this guy, I was like, can I just get like a shot glass of your Guinness beer? Because I'm not going to drink it. And he goes, that would ruin it. I'm not ruining Guinness beer for you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, it's because Guinness over here is the most basic of stout, like, beers, you know? Like,
it's dark. The smell makes me gag. Like, I don't like it.
Dang. I like stouts.
And so
it's sad.
Right.
Porridge and stuff. I'm like, oh.
Like I like for stouts, it's like Guinness is not the one you're gonna choose over here. I mean, it is the most.
Agreed.
basic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah, for sure. And so I was like, well, dude, I don't really want a pint because I'm not gonna drink it. He goes, why not? And I'm like, I don't like beer. And he goes, you've never had Irish beer.
Like,
I was like,
yeah.
oh,
That's
okay.
awesome.
I was like, I guess. He goes, I could sell you a half pint. So he got me a half pint, and he's pouring it up, and he walks away. And he walked away, so I figured it was done. So I grabbed it. I went to sit down, and he comes and finds. I was at the hotel bar, so I was at this like.
He's like this
lounge
silly
chair.
American. What's he doing?
He's like, I'm gonna
He
finish
literally
pouring
comes
it.
up, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" He goes, "It's not done." And he grabs it. He takes it from me, and he puts it back in the spout and the tap. And I was like, "I didn't ruin it, did I?" And he was like, "You didn't ruin it." He was like, "But it's gonna sit here, and you're not gonna touch it." He was like, "Drink your cider. When you're done with your cider, then it'll be done." Because apparently it's got a foam. It like foams crazy, and then it's gotta settle. And then even when it's done settling, it needs to settle for a minute or two. He said before it's really there.
I'd be like, I'm just a lame American. I don't know.
I know.
I'm just thinking,
We
this is
Americans
a
like
lot of
our
work for
beers
some-
cold. We like them.
Yeah,
I like
right?
it cold. They're like, no, it needs to be a little bit lukewarm.
Yeah, like,
I
let it
respect.
sit for a minute. I
That's
I
hilarious.
keep thinking like this is a lot of work for something I'm not gonna like. Is all.
Yeah, sure.
But,
that definitely makes sense.
It wasn't bad, surprisingly. It really was like, it tastes like barley as it should, but it's almost sweet in a way, even though it's the same color as Guinness here. And so the guy's like, "So what'd you think?" And I was like, "I think they're feeding us bathwater back home."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Like, it's
"Yeah,
not
you're
bad,
right."
but it's definitely not the one you're gonna choose. Like I said before, yeah.
Now I will say, everyone said the Jameson tastes different,
I believe that.
In-
Yeah, that
in
makes
Ireland.
sense.
and I tasted the Jameson. It may taste different, but it still tastes like whiskey, which is also not for me.
You're like, well, maybe it's
Yeah, see,
different,
like,
but I don't like it.
Yeah, like what else are you gonna do in Ireland? Honestly, like.
Right? It's weird. So like Ireland, especially Dublin, has got such a pub culture.
Oh yeah.
That's part of the tourist thing. Is Temple Bar, is this big bar in the middle of downtown, and they play like Irish music, and it's very touristy. But then like the further out you go in the city, it's still more pubs, and then they just play more like modern music and stuff. But like that's what they're doing. I kept wondering, we would go to these malls and stuff, and all the malls close at 7 o'clock, and I was like, that's so early on a Friday.
Yeah.
And I kind of came to the conclusion, like, not only do they want to go out and get to their pubs, but also they probably don't want a bunch of tourists drinking at pubs and then going and trying to shop
Yeah.
completely trashed. And so, yeah, it was, it's definitely, like, definitely a pub culture, a lot of drinking, but a lot of history, too, and the history was amazing. We did Trinity College,
Nice.
and that's, like,
Nice.
this ancient college, and got to see the Trinity Library, which is the library that the library in Harry Potter is based off of.
Okay.
They have these books that are hundreds and hundreds of years old. Got to see the Book of Kells, which
Yo,
is
that's sick.
the four Gospels. Yeah, it's the oldest book found in Ireland. It's from I believe it's from the 800s, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Yeah, super old book. It was funny too because they have two of them, right? So they have the Book of Kells, and you see it, and it's in this like dark room, this box, like completely empty dark room, and then the box with the book in it, and then it's like lit up with some lights. It's very like well protected, so like the light's not hurting it and stuff. That's why it's so dark in the room. You get up to the library, and there's another one, and it looks older. And so I was like, wait, I thought I was looking at the Book of Kells earlier. Is that not what this is? And they're like, no, this is the replica, and the replica was made like 200 years ago.
Bro.
Oh wow.
But it's been used so many times, like people were flipping through it so much that it's actually in
Fair.
worse shape than the actual Book of Kells. The Book of Kells
That's
is
crazy.
Which,
so well
thank
preserved.
goodness, actually, right? That's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
super cool. And it's weird because like now this replica is kind of in itself like historical too, hundreds of year old book that's been handled. Yeah, it was all pretty crazy.
very
All of the
cool.
books in the library are gone now because Notre Dame, when it burned down.
Oh,
They said
that's
that-
so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
man.
the library, they were like, you need a fire system in this library. And they're like, well, a fire system would destroy these books.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, so would a fire. So I guess you got to go preserve the books. And they got them all locked up in a vault. But
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
still really cool.
That's awesome.
But anyways, that was Ireland. So much fun. Did a Game of Thrones tour. That was part of seeing the Giant's Causeway.
Cool.
Little set pieces from Game of Thrones. That was pretty cool. A lot of neat stuff. But anyways, I did not play any video games in Ireland. LJ, what have you been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing a couple things here and there. I just feel like I've been working a lot, mostly hustling before my vacation in a few weeks. But
Feel that? I was doing that before Ireland.
yeah. So I did get to try a couple cool new things. I got into the beta for Concord. Actually, it wasn't that hard to get into at one point because they just made it for PlayStation Plus subscribers last week, and then there was an open beta this weekend. Concord is the hero shooter that they revealed during one of the State of Plays recently. I myself was like, this, like, I don't really care. We got so many hero shooters coming out already, like Marvel Rivals, which I actually just got into the beta for, which starts this week, which I'm excited for. But Concord is actually a really good looking game, and it plays really nice. It's actually former Destiny devs, so it actually plays more like Destiny, which is kind of cool. The iffy part, which I'm still on the fence about this, is it does cost $40 whenever the game does come out, which I mean, everybody paid that money for Overwatch when Overwatch was coming out, so I'm like, I don't really know. Like, as long as they're gonna deliver me a quality game, and if they're not gonna like drip feed all this like free to play style like marketing, you know, like if they're not gonna shove that down our throats too much, then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, but it's just one of those games where it's like I can see it becoming free to play very easily at some point. It's got a very Guardians of the Galaxy kind of theme. You play as like a roster of like bounty hunters in space, and there are some really cool characters. Like, I enjoy one of them is this like alien girl, and she has this like warp ability thing that almost reminds me of like as if I was like Nightcrawler or something. She throws this like orb thing out that she can like warp to, and kind of get in and out of fights and stuff like that. And then there's just other characters that are, you know, they're all pretty unique, I think. But yeah, I think it was fun. I enjoyed it. I didn't see myself getting as hooked on it as I did, so I was like, ooh, like, am I gonna drop the money on this when it comes out? So I'll have to see.
I guess that's good.
But yeah, I mean, I still enjoyed it a lot. I just don't know, like, what's the consensus gonna be like when it actually comes out, because I liked it and I was like, oh wow, like this, and it feels like Destiny was a game I really enjoyed playing for the gameplay, but I'm so far behind on that now. So the other game that I actually started playing a lot this weekend, so I've been sick all weekend. I got COVID, barely like recovering from it, but I played I started playing College Football 25, which is awesome because they haven't had one of those since like 2013. Actually, been like 10 years. Actually, over 10 years, yeah, at this point. And that's been super cool. They have a Road to Glory mode where you can basically make a player play for a certain position, go to a certain school, and based on your location and certain questions that they ask you at the beginning of the game, it kind of determines like what schools you can like actually go to or start at. So like, if depending on like what kind of questions or what kind of play style you want your person to be, like, I can go to, if I wanted to go play like for a southern school, I would make my character from like Louisiana or something like that, or like I made my character on the West Coast, so like a lot more schools are going to want players that are closer like located and stuff like that. And that's been super cool. Definitely played through like a year of that so far. Then they have like a dynasty mode, which is cool. So you can basically build up a college from like, you can basically rebuild a college. Like, let's say you want to pick one that's not really well known or that's not very known to be very good. Like, so I picked, just for fun, I picked this local school over here. The UL Raging Cajuns, and they're really like not like a really that prestigious school, you know, like they kind of get overshadowed by like LSU and stuff like that. But I was like, let me make this school like in the video game. Let me like make this school like super well known and stuff like that. Let me, and then a big thing in that is like recruiting. So you basically start from where the like current roster stats are, and you get to like recruit players from around the country and stuff like that, and try to recruit all these good players. And as you go through each year and stuff, like you have the potential to like increase the ranking of the school and turn it into this prestigious school and stuff like that. So it's really cool. The college vibes are all there, like all the schools, traditions and stuff like that. Like the stadiums are so like true to life and everything. Like here in Louisiana, it's cool. Like they have the stadium is owned by I believe it's connected to the hospital, Our Lady of Lourdes and stuff like that. And it's cool to see like that logo in the game because like they got it because that's that stadium. That's that stadium. So I was like, hey, this is kind of neat. But just even the Southern California schools and stuff like that I've seen, like even watching a little bit of college football, like I've watched in the last like couple years, has been awesome. Like it's, I think it's really good. Like I'm so glad. There's a lot of people that straight up paid $100 for the early access edition, which I didn't. But I saw it was the game made like $2.2 billion just off of that early access release alone, and I was like, dang. So it's really cool. So yeah, I think it's super fun, and it's cool to see like a lot of people, a lot of casual gamers get into it who haven't like played one in a long time. So it's been fun to get into, and it was a good sick game because it's not like it wasn't like a lot of work. You know, I can just sit there, push a few buttons. Especially making your own player, all I had to do was push a few buttons, make sure I didn't get hit and stuff like that. So it was a good sick game. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Cool. What about you, Shelley?
Honestly, I've not been gaming much. My backlog is stagnant. I have not bought any new games, but I also haven't played any new games. I've kind of been back on a Stardew kick, which is crazy because it took me a long time to even initially get into Stardew, and like my main goal was really the community center. And when once I beat the community center, I was like, okay, cool, I'm done. And then the next update came out, and then I was playing co-op, and I was like, co-op's really fun. I definitely like prefer co-op if I can, but I was like, oh, maybe I have some ideas with some of the new stuff on my personal farm, on my single player. So now I'm kind of playing that more, which is, again, it's kind of weird because now I'm like, oh, I want to go to Ginger Island. Oh, I want to get all this stuff. Oh, I want to do these things. And I'm like, what happened to me? I used to not care about this game. What is funny, there's still a level of not caring to the game that I really actually kind of want to hold on to. I can get very into the like optimization and optimal efficiency like mindset, and I really don't want to do that with this game. I kind of just want everything to be kind of imperfect. Because I know there's like, I just feel like if I were to look up the optimal ways to get the money or ways to make your farm the most efficient as possible, I feel like that personally would kind of take the fun out for me. I think I'm having more fun just having it a little bit imperfect, having it a little bit dirty, a little bit kind of just like my farm isn't perfect and it's not going to be, and I'm not going to make every optimal decision, and that's fine. So that's cool. Also, it's funny because I totally forgot I was trying to like pursue. I forgot that there was like even a romance mechanic in Stardew. Like that's the thing you could do. I think you get married, you could like have kids, which is like crazy to me.
You can put the kids to work.
It's crazy because I don't think anyone ages visibly, unless I'm wrong. I think everyone just kind of looks the same as the years pass. But anyway, I finally started dating, I think, Alex, which is so funny because I think I came back and was like looking at all my, because I never cared about like making friends with any of the townspeople. It's not Animal Crossing. Any of the folks who live in the valley. I never cared about that before, but again, now that I've been playing so much co-op, I am more well versed in Stardew. So I'm like, oh yeah, I have all these pending quests. Let me just do a bunch of them. And now I'm like friends with everybody, which is pretty great. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I actually get stuff from like being friends with people. And then I realized I had like almost max friendship with Alex, and I'm like, and it's like, oh, you could use the bouquet to start a relationship. I'm like, might as well. I don't really care about him that much, but like, I don't care about anybody else either. So like, okay, I'll do this. Like, that's fine. It's just funny because I feel like I'm usually pretty invested with like romance plots and stuff in other games, like environmental games, Dragon Age. But this game I just don't really care. But I'm like, I'll just do it. Yeah, I don't know. Stardew really hits different. I don't know what it is. Like I've never been able to come back to a game like this, but I somehow, and again, maybe it'll go away. Maybe it's like Minecraft. You know, like you get kind of a Minecraft phase every once in a while, and maybe this is now my Minecraft phase. It's like a Stardew phase. I'll probably get over it pretty quick.
It's your forever game, basically.
Yeah, but it's still,
we were playing Stardew so much for a bit, and then I got so burnt out. And then I downloaded Sunhaven, and now I'm just waiting for controller support.
Yeah, fair.
I think they'll have eventually, because they're talking about moving to Switch, so I feel like they have to get controller support on Steam.
They definitely must. Yeah.
If they're going to get on Switch.
But yeah, so it's kind of fun. It's funny because I, again, have not really been playing anything new or interesting besides that. My husband, he started playing Red Dead Redemption 2, so I'm not actively playing Red Dead Redemption 2, but I've been watching him play, so it sometimes feels like I'm playing. That game is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm glad he's the one playing it because I think I would lose my mind with the way the game works, functionally speaking. Like, everyone's always like, oh, it's like the best story ever. And it's like, that's probably true. But I just watch him bumble around and these, like, not quick time buttons, but kind of quick time buttons. You know what I'm talking about, Red Dead 2? Yeah. Well, because it does this thing. It does this thing where, like, something will happen, and then it'll, like, show up in the corner, like, oh, press this button. And probably, like, it's, like, a random button. And then you, like, click it, but then if you accidentally are a pixel off, you, like, move slightly, well, now you're punching someone. It's crazy. And then there's, like, a mechanic where you have to, like, maintain, like, your weight and their facial hair. So Daniel's trying to get the biggest freaking bushiest mustache ever. Yeah. And you have to, like, drink and smoke in order to have your cool cowboy abilities, which is so funny. So, like, it's obviously an amazing game, but I think it's not for me, and I'm glad I'm not the one playing it. But it's fun to watch it, because I would go crazy with all these weird little stupid things. It's too realistic for its own good, and also not realistic at all. It's crazy.
It's very slow.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like
you really gotta.
It's like you gotta go give yourself a bath to, like, maintain your hygiene or
exactly.
whatever.
It's like it's that, and then but it's also kind of has like that open world element a little bit, and then it also, which, like, I can only really do so much of anyway. But at least in those games, I don't know. It's weird. It's great.
I don't remember how fast travel works in that game.
I don't know if there is. You get a horse.
You have to rent a stagecoach, I think, or you have to, like, pay a stagecoach, I think.
You pay for it though, right?
Yeah, it's like a taxi kind of in GTA.
Right, because I think what I would end up doing is I would just, like, I would put my location on the map, and then I would run my horse, and then I'd put it in cinematic mode, and then I would just walk away, and I would just come back like 4 minutes later.
Yeah, because you could hold a button, and then it would, like, follow a path, but it never worked that well.
Yeah, it worked well enough. If you did if you put a quest or like an area on the map, like a pinpoint, checkpoint. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's
the horse will follow that.
It's almost like cruise control.
Yeah, and so then I would just put on cinematic, and I would just come back to this really pretty picture of a sunset while I'm, like, waiting to get to my spot.
It's a gorgeous game,
it would, like,
that's for sure.
It could literally be like 8 or 9 minutes sometimes, and I'm just waiting.
Yeah,
that's how it is. It's realistic, but
also
not realistic. It's like, it's so realistic that you have to, like, clean yourself and, like, eat and do all this stuff, but then, and, like, take care of a horse. You could brush your horse, but then also you could choose, like, the hair of your horse too. You know, that sort of thing where it's like it's funny. Great game, brilliant. I'm not playing it. I probably never will, and that's fine. So that's a adjacent game that I'm experiencing that I am not playing specifically. So my opinions really aren't that valid. It's just kind of funny. The other thing we've been playing is board games. Nice. A lot of board games, which is crazy. We played another round of Root.
Played a board game
Recently. We had played it once before, so we played it again with some friends, but it's like you have to make an event out of it. And good thing, like, we factioned out enough time. We had a lot of snacks. It was a good time, but, like, it literally took 6 hours. It is a long game. And there were 5 of us playing, so that's probably part of it. There were just more people playing. It's funny because my husband behind me, we learned that there's a Steam version of the game, and he just went and bought it. He just got it, and now he's playing it.
I bet it's cool. I like the digital versions of stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that the game is, there's so much going on. All the characters have different rules. Like, they almost all play a different game, essentially, the different factions.
Yeah, I remember you telling us about that before.
And the digital version probably just takes care of all that for you. I'm like, dang, why do I even... We bought the physical version already. We bought it. We have it. But whatever. Great game. Just, you really gotta commit time to it. You gotta be patient with it. And you have to realize that you're gonna forget half the rules, half the things you can do, all that stuff. Maybe just get digital. But I wanted physical. That, we've also played Everdell. And both these games they're both board games. They're both of the, like, cute animal, anthropomorphic animal forest kind of vibe. Root is all about taking over the woods any way you can. Whether you're, you know, a rat tyrant, like my husband was, and he won. He just washed us the other day. Or lizard cult. I was a lizard cult. I absolutely fumbled. I was so bad, but it was fun anyway. Obviously, every faction has different ways of trying to take over the woods. Ethical or not, right? Usually not ethical. Everdell, very different type of game in that it's like a deck builder where you're building a city with the cards. And it's really cute. Like, the art was great on all these cards. And it's really fun. It's kind of relaxing. I lost again because I never played before, and we were playing with friends who are like masters at this game, basically. And so I can't. Part of it is like I went into it knowing I was gonna lose, but it was just so like relaxing and nice. And I kind of was just like, you know what, this is my little city, and even if it's not perfect, even if other cities are better and they're winning, I'm proud of my little city. You know, it's kind of like fun. You get to collect resources per season. There's 3 seasons, right? There's like spring, winter, fall, no, summer. There's 3 of the 4 seasons that exist in real life you get to play with. And you get little dudes, and you get to move them around on this board, and you get cards, and you get to play these cards, and they kind of like, some of them like kind of combo together, and you get stuff where you get resources, little things. You get like a little piece of wood, or a little berry, or a little amber, or something. I forget what the other one is. There's rock. And you get these little things, That's the thing about board games, is that they have all these little pieces, all these little things. You're like a dragon with a horde, and you're just like, give me everything.
Give me all the pieces.
Very satisfying. So that game's really neat and cool. Board games are neat, man. They just take so much time, not only to play, but to like even learn in the first place, to set up, to put away, to so much money to buy. It's like, board games are another level. I don't know, man. They're fun, but I can't invest that much in it. I have so much respect for the tabletop reviewers here at Geeks Under Grace. If you haven't, and you check them out on our website, definitely do that. They make a lot of really great reviews and stuff. And I think I already had respect for them, and I have more respect for them now. Now that I play these board games, and I'm like, dang, man, they just review these games? That's crazy. Anyway, that's it for games, though. That's it for me.
Cool. Nice.
I did forget, I played a card game. It is called Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Which is a mouthful on purpose.
Yeah.
So you have all these cards, and you put them out, hand them out evenly amongst everybody, and you have to say taco, the next person says cat, the next person says goat, and cheese pizza, and you're laying these cards down as you're doing that, and they all say the same thing, and you're flipping, so you have it as your own, like a deck, and so you're flipping. You don't know what it is when you put it down, and if your word is cat and you put down a cat, then you slap it, and everyone's got to slap it. The last person to slap it gets all the cards.
Oh, it was a slappy game. Slappy games are fun.
It is a slappy game. It was very intense. It was a lot of fun. And then you're trying to get rid of all of your cards. The last person to slap has to take all the cards. There is narwhal, gorilla, groundhog in there as well. And if that card lays down, then you have to... Narwhal is to do like a little horn on top of your head with your hands. Groundhog is you like beat on the table, and then gorilla.
Oh, it makes
beat on
sense
your
because you're
chest.
like focusing on that, but you need to slap.
Yeah,
That's-
so you have to do
that's
those
interesting.
before you can slap down, and then it's the last person to slap and goes.
That makes sense.
It's a chaotic little game. It was a lot of fun. We played it last Wednesday. I don't know where we got it
Nice.
from for sure, but one of those like super easy to learn, quick.
I
party
love
games
those types
for-
of games.
Yeah.
We went to a board game shop recently. That's where we bought Root because we had already played it and liked it, so we're like, might as well get Root. But we also bought Skull, which is another game that we really like. That's also, you just kind of pick it up and you just play. There's also another one I liked
Is
that
it
I
got
played recently
marbles?
called
Does it have marbles? Skull?
Skull. Just has it's like a betting game almost, or it's like it's a kind of like a line game, but you'd have these paper skulls that you like flip. I don't think there's marbles. I don't think there are. I
Oh,
could be
weird.
wrong. Maybe I'm
Paper
wrong.
skulls.
It's a very old game. It's like an actual old game that they made into a board game.
Okay. It's probably not what
So-
I'm thinking of. I have like this plastic skull. I don't know what the game's called.
Oh.
And it's also a line game. It's about like saying
Oh.
that you have a marble when you don't, and then you.
It could be based off the same thing, because again, like, the description on the box is like, yeah, this is actually like a very ancient game from Mexico. Could be
Oh,
the same.
cool.
It could just be a different variation.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Interesting.
And there's also another game I like called, I think it's just called like Ouch. And it's, there's just like cards, and you're trying to like you're trying to collect cactus flowers is the whole thing, but you might accidentally grab a cactus and hurt yourself, and it has to do with like how you flip the cards over, and it's very simple because you either like get the flower or you don't, and there's some strategy to it. But I usually prefer games like that. Like, at least Root and Everdell, I understand them now, so I'll keep playing them. But I wouldn't really want to go on my way to learn more games that are really that intense. Like Gloomhaven, never. Ugh. I'll just play
Yeah.
D&D at that point. No, all respect to the Gloomhaven players and Frosthaven players. I very much respect y'all. I just think I'm not going to do it. I can't do that.
Cool. We will get into the gaming news then. I know it's been a while. We haven't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk a while. So it's a little bit longer
That's
podcast
cool.
today.
No
What's going on in the
worries.
gaming world?
Yeah, so we had Evo this weekend.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so we got a lot of announcements from there. So part of the announcements here is that Multiverses announced 2 new characters, which are Samurai Jack and apparently Beetlejuice. I missed that part completely. Apparently Beetlejuice was teased as well. Samurai Jack has been like a long time coming for. I'm just waiting for the Jack sweats to be out now. Like, everybody's gonna pick Samurai Jack because like
Mm-hmm.
you aren't cool.
He's
if
just
you're
so
not gonna-
cool.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I'm just like, I already know the sweats are gonna definitely pick Jack. And then the part of that news is, I guess today, WB Games has officially acquired Player First Games, which is the Multiverses devs. So right on. Like, I guess that could also suck if layoffs happen. But like, I think that's cool that they, I guess they finally took these devs in, and it sounds like they're gonna get full support for this game. Not that they probably weren't already, but just the fact that they're acquired, I think is cool.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not gonna be anything that's like off the table. It seems like, and the game is still doing really well. Like, there's definitely, like, I've dropped off of it a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely played it like a lot the first month it was out, and I still do enjoy it. I think it got a little stale for me, but the ranked mode is actually coming out next week too, which is probably going to bring me back, just to keep it more entertaining and more like at my skill level or skill base. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting for Multiverses and the devs. The next piece of news that came out of Evo, or like, I guess the next notable thing, is that Lucy from Cyberpunk Edgerunners is coming to Guilty Gear Strive, which
Cool.
I think it's awesome. Like, the
So
art
neat.
style of the game just fits it so well in the art style of the show. Guest characters are a big thing that brings players in,
Mm-hmm.
especially with games like Mortal Kombat. Like, that's Mortal Kombat was kind of always the grandfather of the guest characters and Soul Calibur. But I think it is neat for Lucy to be in there. A lot of people I know want David, but Lucy's arguably like a more important character in a lot of ways, or a more popular character in a lot of ways. But yeah, I think it's super cool. It makes me want to get back into Guilty Gear Strive, because Guilty Gear Strive is a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
And then the kind of the last piece of news is kind of gives people like me hope that are into the Marvel vs. Capcom games. Capcom devs have said that they have big dreams for more Marvel vs. Capcom stuff. They recently announced the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection.
That's right.
On
Switch, right? Or...
on everything.
On everything.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
people were freaking out about that.
Yeah, it's huge. That was a real big deal. Those games are so, like, as far as like archival purposes, those games were ridiculous to find. Like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is like the reason why I bought a PS3 off of Derek in the last couple years.
Yeah.
Why why a lot of people like look to emulation for this kind of stuff, because it's all arcade stuff, and the console ports are usually not great. So the Fighting Collection, they said, was something that they could give to fans in the short term, but they're trying to figure out what Marvel vs. Capcom could look like in long term, and there's a lot of work behind that, but they have big dreams, they said, for what Marvel vs. Capcom could be. So that gets me excited.
Cool.
I think it's huge for Marvel to be on board, because the reason why the last Marvel vs. Capcom game, Infinite, was kind of weird is because that was the time when Marvel was basically trying to sweep X-Men and Fantastic Four under the rug, because, you know, Fox still owned those properties, and now that they own Fox, like, again, nothing is off the table. They're just like, whatever, we can do whatever we want now. So I think that's super cool. Like, that's like a big reason why that last game, the roster of that last game was so weird, was because of that. So we don't know what that new one is going to look like yet, whether there's going to be a new one, but it's just exciting that there could be more in the future, so I'm excited. Yeah, so that's it. Made it quick and easy for gaming news.
Sweet. We will get into movies we've been watching then. I have not seen any movies, I don't believe, since we were last on the podcast, so go ahead, Shelley. We'll start with you.
Yeah, I haven't watched anything new, but I just rewatched a movie that I hadn't seen in a while. We were, had some friends over, and we were talking about how we wanted to watch a murder mystery, kind of, but they'd already seen a lot of the more, like, recent ones, like Glass Onion, Knives Out and stuff, and, like, I hadn't, but they didn't really want to rewatch it. That's just totally valid. And I'm like, guys, we should watch Minority Report. It's kind of a murder mystery. And they're like, what's
That's
Minority Report? And I'm like, guys, you haven't seen Minority Report?
Yes.
I think it's straight up one of the most underrated movies I can think of. Like, there's probably more underrated movies out there that I just haven't seen, or whatever. But as far as movies that I know that I really, really like,
it's definitely what I'd consider a cult classic, kind of. Like, it's super good.
It's really good. Like, it's also really long. I did not realize how long it was until it was, like, pretty late, and I'm like, so sorry guys, we have work tomorrow. It was fine. Yeah, I just remember watching it. It's so funny because I watched it for like a class, I remember, which is crazy. I do not remember what class. I don't remember why. It was probably about some literary something. I don't know. It was probably a lit class, is from what I imagine. It might be
based off a book.
Maybe. I don't know. It is Spielberg, which I know he does that, but it's really good. I really like it a lot. And I know people have different opinions about, like, Tom Cruise as a person. I actually really like him as an actor, specifically. I think that's fair. I think it's a fair thing to say.
Okay, yeah, it's definitely based off a book.
It is, okay, perfect. So maybe that was
a really old book.
But it's based off a short story, that's right. I remember now. It's based off a short story.
Yeah.
So technically, yes, but not full thing. It's just really good, man. It's just a solid movie. It's got the twists, it got the turns, it's got the sci-fi. It's so interesting, though, talking about how, like, sort of this alternate universe future
concept of like
that is
pre-crime and stuff
so
like that. Yeah.
It's both unrealistic in a lot of ways and very realistic in other ways, in kind of scary ways. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, they have technically they don't have flying cars, but they have like flying adjacent cars. They have like different types of cars. They have a different highway system. They have all these like sort of hologrammy things that they use like at their at work, which is like, okay, that's not very realistic. But then they also have like ads that see you and like recognize your eyes and will address you personally and bring up your history of buying stuff, which I'm like, that's definitely happening in the future. That's 100% like in our future for sure. Like AI, the way it's going.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna walk in and like granted there's a level of they were at a lot of malls and like malls are dying. Probably malls will continue to die. That's probably not coming back to style, but there's gonna be like advertisements online or in billboards when you're walking around cities that are gonna see you and like know who you are and gonna like talk to you, which is gonna be scary. That was just one thing that I never thought about, 10 some years ago when I watched this movie for the first time, but that's what I thought about this time. Anyway, if you haven't seen this movie, it's really good. It's the premise, without spoiling anything, because there's a lot to easily spoil, but the premise is, so it takes place in a future, it takes place in like 2050 or something, right? And Tom Cruise, protagonist, he works for the pre-crime industry, or pre-crime, which is basically, they have these essentially prophets. They have some people who can see visions of the future, so they can see if someone's about to get murdered. And their job at pre-crime, they're kind of like cops, but they specialize in seeing these visions or like analyzing these visions to stop these crimes and murders happening before they happen. So that's the premise. So it's really interesting, and it kind of just takes off from there. It's very much like an action movie, but there's also sort of a murder mystery element. And man, the cinematography and the lighting, I did not notice before, like how intentional it all is. Like we know so many times it's like the choices in the lighting and the colors specifically that are kind of on screen. Like it could tell it's very intentional. And I'm just like, I need to read like a essay or watch a video essay of like someone breaking down like an analysis of like how the lighting is used in this movie, because it's like really good. I like it a lot. Definitely watch it. Definitely one of Spielberg's, I think, most underrated movies. Like people think of Steven Spielberg and they're like, oh my gosh, like Jurassic Park and stuff, which is like valid, right? But
Yeah.
This movie is up there. And it's back before Tom Cruise had his veneers in, so he has like regular teeth. He has like his regular kind of
Yeah.
natural teeth that look kind of dorky, which is kind of fun. He's very young. It's from like 2001. So he's very young back then, but that's what I watched.
Cool.
Nice.
What about you, LJ?
I've definitely watched a lot of movies in the past 3 weeks probably, but the most recent two I watched was the other night. I watched the original Twister movie. Since the second one is out.
Yeah. Doing well in the box office, I heard.
Yeah. So I hadn't even like seen the first one since I was a kid, probably. And so that was another movie. That was a movie which like I saw some stuff about it on TikTok, obviously, because the second one. But then when I watched it, I was like, man, this is super good for like being a 90s movie. Like the special effects and everything. They just found a creative way to make these tornadoes almost like monstrous and just give these things like not like personality, but just like they find a way to make them like, I mean, not that tornadoes aren't intimidating, obviously, but it's just like intense, like they figured out a way to movify it, and just like the special effects and just the way that everything moves and stuff like that and just gets thrown around, like it's like I can only imagine like the set pieces I think would be super fun to make for a movie like this. I did see a clip of Bill Paxton walking through like one of the houses or whatever on TikTok, and I was like, oh, that was kind of cool, and that's kind of what got me to like watch it. And I don't really know how actual storm chasing technology works or what they do or whatever, but the premise of the movie is like they have this technology that they want to try, that they figured out how to view this, like how to look at the structure of a tornado and stuff like that, and things like that. So Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt are in it. Really, I mean, they're definitely in the their heydays at that time. I did also see something that was really cool. That so Bill Paxton was the only person who was a non-storm chaser. So I guess one thing storm chasers do when somebody passes on is they'll get on their GPSs or their radars, and they'll do the initials for whoever passed on or whatever, like a fellow storm chaser. But Bill Paxton was the only person that they actually did like that for on their radar, and they did like the BP initials and stuff like that. Like, I was like, that's cool. And he passed away and stuff like that. But no, it was super good. I was like, man, like this movie's like, I mean, it was just one of those things when I was a kid. I didn't really care. Like, that's not a movie I was gonna watch, but that's just one of those movies. I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is why, this was. This is why this is actually like recognized as a good movie or a memorable movie, because it was filmed well, it was well made, it was a genuinely good movie. So it was just cool to go back to a movie like that I hadn't seen in probably however many years, decades at this point. And so I'm glad I did. So it was super good to watch. I do want to see Twisters, because that actually surprisingly looks kind of good. Like, I saw an extended trailer. I think last time I went to the theater.
The extended trailers different. I remember watching one trailer. I'm like, this looks pretty cheesy and bad, but I've heard
right.
good things. So,
I mean, it is still kind of like the first one is still kind of a bit cheesy, like.
Fine.
But yeah, it's of a particular genre, I guess, or era. But I've heard the new one's doing well. I've heard it's pretty good, so I'll watch it eventually. The next thing I did watch, I do want to give a shout out to, is Ultraman Rising. It's on Netflix. It's an animated movie. Okay. And I was kind of hearing things about how that movie kind of got overlooked, and I agree. Super good animated movie. Very almost like Big Hero 6 style, like animated. I don't know who actually animated it, whether it was like Netflix in-house or somebody, or like maybe a DreamWorks thing, but I highly recommend it. It's about this young kid who basically takes on the role of Ultraman from his parents. And kind of the poster says it all. He ends up fighting this little baby kaiju and stuff like that. And has to like raise it and stuff like that. Which is super, like,
silly.
Which is kind of, which is silly. Really good movie. Really good production quality. Very well written and acted. So, but yeah, Ultraman is super good.
Wait, well, we'll get into the movie news then. Shelley, go ahead. Our news this week.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Not a lot of news, but definitely sort of, radar. We have Spawn, the movie, which I'm pretty sure we've talked about before, that they're getting movie. We know the title now. It's going to be King Spawn. Which, I don't know, it's kind of a good title, I guess.
Yeah.
It's whatever. I don't know.
I'm very, like, I don't know what it is about the title or the logo, maybe is what it was, but, like, I'm getting Hellboy vibes, like, just, like,
it's
minimum...
It's gonna be low budget, like that.
Low budget, minimum
like
budget film.
Movie's gonna be. Yeah.
Definitely could be.
I don't have any hopes at all.
Definitely could be, yep.
Oh, that's what we didn't talk about. There's a new Hellboy trailer that came out. I didn't put that in the news.
Oh.
That kind of, like, away a couple weeks ago. Also, very low budget. I
could see them doing it with, like, doing a better job with Spawn, because they have that old HBO animated series where he, like, stays in the shadows a lot. Like, the movie definitely turns him into this character that's like, oh, I'm gonna go guns blazing, and, I'm this awesome superhero, like, like, fighter, but, like, Spawn's very much like, he's not a fun, like, I don't know, like, he's just the type of guy that's gonna stay in the shadows, and he's gonna basically kill people with his chains and, like, torture them probably before he does. So it's just like, it's just one of those things. Like, I think they could do a low budget Spawn probably better than they can do a low budget Hellboy movie. I mean, there are ways you could do a low budget Hellboy movie too, but I think Spawn would hopefully fare better.
So
I don't know enough about the comic, to like to know why he'd be called King Spawn, but anyway.
So there's that. And we also have the Rebel Moon Director's Cut trailer, which is like Red Band. They probably have a regular trailer, but they also have the Red Band trailer. Because I mean, I guess I never watched the Rebel Moon movies. I had heard people were like, he had this vision that it was going to be rated R. It was supposed to be like this whole thing, and I don't think the movies were rated R. I think they were pretty censored. And again, it's like, I remember when we were first talking about it, like, it was always meant to be kind of like a rated R Star Wars movie. And then they're like, well, we don't want Star Wars to be rated R. So he's like, fine, I'm going to do my own thing. And then he kind of tried to do his own thing. And then they're like, no, you still have to do all this other stuff and censoring, even though it's not Star Wars anymore. And now he gets his director's cut. And he's just like, did they do this? They bully him on purpose, I'm pretty sure. They're just like, Zack Snyder,
so
we're
weird.
gonna do all these weird decisions to make the movie almost objectively worse. Like, I could be wrong, but I feel like this happened with Justice League before too, where it's like the director's cut came out and people were like, oh yeah, this is just better. I feel like that's probably the same things that's gonna happen here. Like, it's gonna be obscenely long, right? Director's cuts always are,
Yeah,
but especially
so
for this.
The other two movies were two movies, part one,
Yes.
part two. And I believe that the director's cut of this is one long
It's just
movie.
one long thing, which
Wow.
probably you should probably take an intermission if we're gonna watch it, but you can do it in one sitting
Yeah,
if you want.
I
Maybe
just-
take
I
a
watched
little break.
Justice
I
League in,
feel like it was the
multiple
plan all
parts.
along. And they
Yeah.
were like, you know what people like, Snyder? When we make you do a director's cut.
Yeah,
But, like, that's got to encourage the movies that came out already to not do, like, wasn't going to do his best on those.
no, that's what I mean.
he's
It's
got the
like, it
director's
feels
cut
like
that he wants to focus on.
bullying. It feels like they're intentionally
It's so
going
strange.
out of their
I
way
hate
to.
this.
Yeah, it's
I'm
almost
okay
like
if
a
it stays with
trend.
Snyder. I'm really scared of it, like, continuing into everyone else getting their own director's cuts.
Like, we're gonna
I
intentionally
don't
make a
want
worse movie that you kind of get interested in, that almost acts more just like an advertisement, so then you watch the big full director's cut.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
the director's
terrible
true vision.
trend.
And what's crazy about that is, like, so, like, Lord of the Rings, totally different, because Lord of the Rings, like, you have a movie, and the movie's good, and then they just added more to the movies.
There was just so much
That's
of it that they're like,
very-
hey, we can't put out all this
Yes.
the first time, so let's wait.
That's
and
different than
put out
what
all
this
that
is, which
later.
seems like we're going to completely change the story.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be different.
Yeah.
And most of the, like, we'll use some of the clips that we had in the other movie, but it's a totally different vision than the original. And I'm like, I don't want to watch your movie twice. Why are you doing this to
know.
me?
So here's kind of my problem with it too, and I guess it's my problem with like Justice League, is like, okay, so making that director's cut is like making money off of the grief you went through because of your daughter passing away. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like literally, like you're just making money off of that situation at this point because you
Yeah.
took off and you left it in somebody else's hands, you know, like. So then now you're like, oh, well, I want my own version. I want people to see my own version or my original version, which probably isn't even my original version at this point because, like you said, changes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's to make a comparison. Maybe this isn't a perfect comparison, but it's like when a video game comes out. No Man's Sky is the main one I can think of. There's other ones too,
Yeah.
where it's just like
just
very
had an update.
promising, has all these cool things going for it, but then it's just like not good, and then
Yeah.
it's good like a year later, because then
Yeah.
the devs and everyone else are finally able to upload all the patches, all the updates, all the
Yeah.
content
Like, at least you're
that
able
was
to
supposed to
make
be done in the
changes
first
to a
place.
Video game.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of that, where due to executives, due to higher ups or decisions, developers for video games or directors for movies aren't able
Yeah.
to like put out their full vision. They have to get out, sooner than they wanted to, without all this extra stuff, yada yada yada. But then they turn that around. They're just like, well, we're gonna follow up and make a whole new one, or I guess with games they usually just do an update, but
Yeah.
I don't know, it feels similar to me, where it's like, oh, let's put out this unfinished product, or let's put out this chopped up bad product in order for you to come back to it later. It's almost supposed to be like a taster. And again, I think with a lot of video games that's not always intentional, but
Yeah.
and whereas with movies it makes me think maybe it is more intentional. I don't know, that seems kind of messed up, but
Right.
it's either way, it's not good. I'd rather
Yeah.
good product from the get-go, whether it's a movie or a game or a
Yeah.
book
Yeah.
or whatever. Like, just give me a good product from the get-go, please. Ugh.
Yeah.
And I'll say, too, I don't hate longer movies. I do
Right.
think,
No,
like,
yeah.
you could have given that me originally, and I'm down with a 5-hour movie. That sounds ridiculous. But if I can get intermission, like, movie tickets are getting expensive these days.
Yeah.
If that 5 hours is good,
Yeah.
I'll spend my day at your theater for the same price as, like, a 2-hour movie.
Mhm.
As long as the content is good, and that's key there.
Yes.
Getting into the actual trailer of this thing, it looks okay. I'm still on the fence of whether or not I want to watch it. The one thing that caught me off guard was just like, why is the robot that has nipples? It's like this
because this
robot
is Red Band trailer,
and those are stylistic choices that didn't even look at like they were at least like part of the original trailers for the other parts.
Yeah, it was
So I'm
just
like,
so. I was like, why?
This is just. It's not even a stylistic choice at that point because
It's just
it's not. It doesn't have an aesthetic like that the rest of the movie does. At least as far as I've seen.
right?
It reminds me of George Clooney's Batman. I was like, why does this robot?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like you said, it's the Red Band trailers. They really had to like pull out all the stops, and I hate that about rated R movies. I don't like when rated R movies are like, oh, we're rated R, so we have to do all of this
Right.
outrageous stuff. I'm actually gonna give props up. I'm gonna talk about House of the Dragon in a little bit, but House of the Dragon's been doing really good with that lately, where the nudity has been very tasteful. I'm not gonna say that all of it. I'm not saying you should go watch it and they're like, oh, you're totally safe.
Right.
But compared to Game of
less shock
Thrones,
value, I guess.
yeah, and there's I think in the season 1 of House of Dragon, there's a full-on brothel scene that completely ruins that, vision.
Oh,
But,
I'm sure. Yeah.
like, we just watched a scene, the way my wife put it. We watched this episode yesterday or the day before, and she goes, it was a full, sex scene, and she goes, there were no pink bits to be seen in that that scene. And I was like, you're right. Yeah, everything was like covered up for the most part, in really like clever ways and tasteful ways. You don't have to be like, oh, we're rated R, rated MA, so now we have to do all of the things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the line? Can we go tiptoe it? I just don't understand that mindset. I would rather
Right.
things be good and focus on being good than being a certain rating just because you can.
Yeah.
Yep. That's our movies.
We will get into the TV then. I have seen so much TV. I guess I'll
Good,
just stick
go
with
for it.
House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
House of the
Nice
Dragon
segue.
has been really good. It's been
Nice.
very expensive, I assume, because it's House of the Dragon, and so everyone's got, I mean, not everyone, but there's lots of dragons. And the dragon fights have been really cool. Like, CGI is pretty decent. Some of the dragons look really, really pretty too. Like, just the scaling on them and everything, the detail that they have. That could have gone really poorly for them, and I'm really glad that it hasn't. That CGI is possibly better than some of the stuff we've seen in the MCU lately. So, that's saying something. Vikings Valhalla I've watched 2 episodes now. It's okay. I stand by my opinion that Vikings Valhalla is the lesser of the 3. The 3 being Vikings Valhalla, and Last Kingdom. I don't know why that gets lumped in there, but it does. But it's been good. It's hard when you watch House of the Dragon and the writing is so incredible in House of the Dragon to Vikings Valhalla. You're like, all right, this is cool. You really know what you're like to expect, I feel like, at this point when you're watching Valhalla. Finished Acolyte.
Nice.
Yeah, it is all right. I didn't hate it. It sets
Yeah,
itself up
I
for another
feel like
season, which is interesting.
it's like you and this other friend of mine is a great sort of like baseline litmus test of kinds to like see if something is actually like good or worth watching, because you and this other friend of mine, especially when it comes to like Star Wars, like you want to like things, and so if something's like, even if it's like kind of decent, you're like, oh, okay, cool, like I actually like enjoyed that. It wasn't perfect or amazing, but like it was at least something. Whereas I feel like, again, especially with Star Wars, but I guess in other things too, people are just like are so hateful online that it's really hard to sift through. Is it actually really bad? Are they complaining about something specific? Like, is it good? Like, I can't tell. So, thank you. I appreciate this information.
Yeah,
I guess it would be like Star Wars and MCU for me, probably. If I don't like
Yeah,
something in
true.
MCU,
Actually,
it's gotta
yeah.
be pretty
MCU
bad.
is the same. Same thing.
No, it just didn't do anything that crazy. I think there was a lot of cool setups they could have done. I think the most interesting piece of this show is, again, the director didn't really know much about Star Wars, and so I noticed in the combat, there's this unspoken rule, or maybe it is a spoken rule in Star Wars. Forgive me for not knowing well enough, but you can't turn your lightsaber off and then turn it back on when you're sword like lightsaber fighting.
Yeah.
Because it would like the lightsaber would go through and it would be cheating basically. And for some reason the Jedi and the Sith follow that law of not doing that because that's just like it would be dishonorable. It's really weird that the Sith don't do it. But this show just kind of breaks that, and it breaks a bunch of other like just really interesting Star Wars combat rules that you're not used to seeing.
Okay.
Huh.
And so it doesn't say why. I think it's probably just the director doesn't know those rules and was like, why can't I just turn the lightsaber off in the middle of a battle?
Interesting.
But it makes for really cool, interesting fights. Other than that, I don't know. There's just... It's not that it's bad. It's just that there's a lot of things that they could have done that would have been really cool, and they just didn't.
Yeah. Sometimes that's worse. Sometimes it feels like if there's a great potential for something and then it's like missed potential, that's almost more disappointing than just something bad. But, nah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And then the last thing I watched, would be Cobra Kai. Not finished yet, but that'll kind of... We can tie that into ULJ. I'm liking it so far. It's just more Cobra Kai, and that's fine with me. I don't think it's really doing anything new. So, if I'm right, there's 3 parts this season, right? And we're just getting 5 episodes.
I think that's what I heard too, yeah.
So it'll be 15 episodes total. Most of the season there's 10 episodes. I think we're getting 3 parts of it. And it's just more of the same, but it's been great, so it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Like, I don't want to give anything away, but there's like this almost mystical bit that happens. And it's so silly. Like, Cobra Kai takes itself so seriously sometimes, and then other times it's so goofy.
It's so seriously that it's like cheesy.
Yeah, and like...
Yeah.
You are constantly going, where are the police? You know? I think it's kind of figured that out a little bit, which is nice. That like the first, I feel like 3 seasons, it was just kind of like, why didn't anyone call the cops? And I think it's it's the wife, Danny's wife, actually like says that. She was like, why hasn't anyone called the police yet? And then after that, they kind of like started thinking about that in their writing.
Yeah.
But these little karate kids are all hoodlums. And they're all starting fights. Just everywhere they go.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fun shenanigans. I really like Cobra Kai. I'm sad that this is the last season. But it does need to end, I think.
Oh, I didn't realize it was last season, but also it absolutely needs to end. As someone who's not seen the newest stuff, only the season before, it definitely does need to end. It's kind of... It keeps escalating. You can only escalate so much.
Right. Someone's
like,
gonna die.
Come on, guys. They're just teenagers doing martial arts.
I'm surprised someone hasn't
There's
died
only so
yet,
far you
honestly.
can go. I mean, people have gotten close. Low-key.
It just ends with Danny and Johnny in prison. For a gig war that they...
Well, what's weird... Okay, I know this is sort of tangential, but I heard that the new movie is going to be just disconnected entirely from the show, which is crazy because it's like the same actors. So that's kind of surprising to me.
Well, that's weird too, and I don't know... So I don't know where it's all at yet, because that was right. It was completely disconnected, and it wasn't going to be the same actors.
Oh, it wasn't.
But now they're saying it's disconnected, but it's got the same actors in it, and so I'm like, is it still gonna be disconnected, or will it be connected in the end?
Alternate universe, or maybe it just takes place after Cobra Kai, and it's like totally separate, and they just don't reference it. It's just weird. Why would you have the same actor if it's?
My guess is that they wanted to make that movie after like season 1 or season 2 of Cobra Kai, and they're like, great, this is we should make a movie now that like this is happening. And then the show got such good praise, and so many people are watching it that they were like, well, maybe we should connect the two.
Yeah.
So I think the movie will be connected in some way.
But
Probably
they did find a new
like
actor for like the quote unquote Karate Kid, but it's just weird that like isn't it Ralph Macchio and like Jackie Chan like involved in it?
Yeah, and that doesn't make sense because Jackie Chan is like a whole nother.
Yeah. Is
another universe.
Yeah.
They've talked about that in the show. Like the show is all about the Miyagi. Only deals with the Miyagi verse, and they weren't bringing Jackie Chan into it. I don't know. I do think it would be really cool if they kind of like it's disconnected and it's like there's a time jump and Danny LaRusso is kind of older and he plays a Miyagi role. And so it's like everyone's out of the house and he's just this old man like teaching a kid in like a similar way as the newer Karate Kid. That would be fun. kind of reboot in a way, but have
Yeah.
it with Russo and have a legacy there. That would be neat. But we'll see. I don't know. I definitely also think that the show is the time is done. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I feel kind of bad that everything's leading towards Miyagi-Do, and maybe that'll change. We got more episodes, but the show's called Cobra Kai, and so I really like the idea of like the redemption of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And it definitely feels like they're just like, no, Cobra Kai is still the bad guy. And I'm like, but that's not what this show was set out to do. It was to set out to show that like Danny LaRusso was a little villain, and Johnny Lawrence was right all along.
Johnny Lawrence was, he's the redemption arc for Johnny Boy. He's got to be, as far as shows go, like at least modern shows, he's got to be one of my favorite characters, dude. I love Johnny. I hope that next season doesn't ruin it.
He's tried so hard.
He really is.
He's down on his luck. Like, things just happen to him, man. He's trying, though. I love him.
Everything would have worked out if Danny LaRusso wouldn't have bullied him.
I know, seriously. Well, yeah, for sure, because he's the one who bullied. Yep. Mm-hmm,
we're in the darkest timeline.
Mm-hmm.
broke his radio for no reason. Took his girlfriend. Dumped him in a bathroom sink.
Crazy things.
Shower, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Danny was not a good dude. Oh man, they're so petty too. I love it.
Yeah.
LJ, do you have any more to add up Cobra Kai?
Not really. It's just more Cobra Kai. Like you said, it's not a bad thing at all. Like I'm just like, yeah, I'm here for it. And then I feel like every season that has comes out around the time I get sick for whatever reason.
Oh.
Because I'm like, oh, the new season's out. And then the next day I went home early from work because I was feeling bad. And then my mom's like, oh, I took your stepdad to the urgent care. Like, and it sounds like we all have COVID. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm just binging Cobra Kai again. So, that's exactly what happened. But no, it's good. It's like, if you like it, then you're just going to continue to like this, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what you're getting with it. You know it's super cheesy and it's dumb. So, in a good way, all in good ways. So, yeah,
cool.
That's kind of it.
What else you been watching?
Yeah. So, I have been on an anime kick lately.
Nice.
Definitely big anime kick. I guess I'll group this in because I finally did watch the Mugen Train movie for Demon Slayer, and that was super good.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really nice. I have not watched the arc yet, like the actual like Mugen arc on Demon Slayer, because I feel like it's just not going to be as good as the movie. So I'm probably not. I don't know. I'll get to that eventually, I think. Last weekend I binged Kaiju number 8 in like a day.
I've heard that's good.
It really is. It's a really good show. It's not often they make animes about a 30-something-year-old dude who's like down on his luck. You know, it's where it's always these like young kids like in high school or finishing high school, or these kids who are 16, 17 years old, and it's just like, I don't know. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, I can relate to this. But basically, again, another kaiju-centered thing. This dude starts out working for a kaiju cleanup duty, basically, kaiju cleanup company. And, you know, he has this childhood friend he grew up with who eventually went to the, like, kaiju defense force or whatever, and then he's just this dude that just ended up here, and he's down on his luck, and, in typical anime fashion, he becomes this thing that he thought he could never become, and gets super strong and stuff like that, and so, it's super good. The episode, I don't know how long the episodes are, but I binged it, like, fast, and it's only, like, the first season's only maybe 12 episodes, but, I liked it a lot. It was super good. Very well written. It's a very, very nice, like, well-produced anime. The dub is on Crunchyroll. And then it's actually got, like, English openings and endings, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, neat.
Which are known artists, I guess. And I was like, wow, like, how'd they get, you know, like, the end credit theme song is done by, like, One Republic.
What?
Okay.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I was like, okay, like I haven't heard of One Republic in like ever. But
That's neat.
the opening theme is pretty dope too. But that's another, like, if you're looking for something to watch, I highly recommend it. That one sounds like it's going to be a bit shorter. I don't know how long the manga is running, but apparently the manga is headed towards its final chapters or its final arc, I guess. I don't know how soon that is, but just when the show is like getting super popular, I guess the creator, I guess, felt the need to say something. But I'm all about that. Like, I'm all about this shorter stuff. Like, not all anime needs to be One Piece or Dragon Ball Z where it's like hundreds or thousands of episodes long. So I'm totally down for this. And the story is so good that I'm like, you would just be getting more out there and out there if you kept going too, at least as far as I know. Like, I've not read the manga, but the show is super good. So yeah. And then I was trying to see if there was anything else, but yeah. Oh, and then I've been watching the boxing anime that I've still been watching for the last couple weeks, Hajime no Ippo, boxing anime. I've mentioned it before. I actually bought a fit for the gym a few weeks ago that's like has his shorts, and then it's got like the shirt from the gym, or from his boxing gym in the anime.
Oh, cool.
And so that should be coming in this week. So like,
That's awesome.
I just randomly saw that as a Facebook ad, and I was like, I'm buying this. I don't know what the quality's like, but I mean, I don't need super high quality clothes for the gym. I just need stuff to work out in. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'm down for it. So yeah, super good show. That show's, I think, like I said before, it's like 70 something episodes long, and I'm on episode 20 something. Main character in the show is like just finished like the rookie tournament stuff, so now he's becoming more well known, and that's been a super good show. And I think it's one of the older like sports like animes, mangas from like back in the day. So I feel like there's a lot of like other sports anime that have probably taken notes from a show like this. It's gotten me to want to watch Haikyuu, I guess, but there's no dub for that right now. So I decided when I can be more alert and more like able to read subtitles, I'll start that show eventually. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that show. That's one of my shows that I'm like, if I have a few minutes or an hour or whatever, I'm gonna watch a few episodes of that. So that's definitely my favorite anime right now. Cool. Yeah, that's it.
Shelley, you watching anything?
Still watching Clone Wars, baby. We finally finished season 3.
Nice.
Nice.
And noticed the art style change slightly. I kind of thought that, because I'd heard like, oh, they kind of changed it a little bit. It's pretty subtle, but it's there. And really what's most noticeable is just how different Ahsoka looks. Honestly, everyone else kind of looks the same. But I had always thought that Ahsoka kind of grew and looked older throughout the show as it goes on. And maybe it still does after season 3. But as of right now, it seemed like a very definite shift of like, she looks like 12 or 13, 14 to now she looks like 16. Like, it's just like immediate.
Yeah.
I was just like, that's fine. I guess I can't really blame them for, at least they make her look at least a little older. Like, that's something versus making her look the same age all the time. And I know she keeps aging a little bit because again, it's kind of funny. I've seen the last episodes of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But and she looks still even a little bit older then. But also those were released way later. The last season was released way later, so I'll probably watch it. It's still good. People keep saying, season 3 is when it starts getting good, and yeah, it's good. I think there's still something to be said about I feel like I always hear people saying like, oh, early season or early shows, Ahsoka is kind of annoying because she like does all these things and she doesn't, have any consequences for her actions. And I'm like, she still doesn't after season 3. People are like, oh, season 3 that changes. And I'm like, does it? Because she still kind of just tries things and it works half the time. Half the time she almost dies, to be fair. So I guess that's consequences. I suppose that's consequences. But half the time it just seems like she does something and it just works every time. Which is kind of funny. I do really like her as a character. For sure. It's just sometimes I'm like, girl, you're a Padawan? I know you're Anakin's Padawan, but like, girl, you gotta like slow your roll. Slow your roll. she's kind of cracked. But I really like the all the, you know, subtle or not so subtle, you know, points of Anakin becoming Vader, like when he's interacting with Tarkin. That was very interesting. I really liked that. I'm like, oh my gosh, Tarkin's here. What the heck? And Tarkin says these things that are a little bit out of pocket, a little bit like, I don't know, like, obviously we work with the Jedi, but like the Jedi, like, they just don't go far enough most of the time. And Anakin's, and Ahsoka and everyone else is just like, no, you're wrong. And Anakin's like, I don't know, he has a point. And then you hear the Darth Vader theme, like, duh. It's so funny. It's like not subtle at all, but like I appreciate it because I do appreciate the sort of like transition showcasing to Darth Vader that you kind of see throughout the show. How he's like clearly trying to be a good person, and is truly, you know, clearly trying to protect the people he loves, and but you could tell he's a little bit obsessed with it. Anytime Padme's in trouble, anytime Ahsoka's in trouble, anytime Obi-Wan's in trouble. And there was also frankly weird, I didn't really like them, episodes where they like go to this weird planet and there's like this, they're like, there's like the father and he's a Force user guy, and then and then he has like the son and the daughter, one represents the light side, one represents the dark side, and I thought it was kind of like these are actual manifestations of the Force, but like they aren't. Right. There's some weirdness there. I don't know if I liked those episodes. It's really weird. Then they like showed Anakin his future, where it was like, here's your future, you're gonna become Darth Vader and all this stuff, and he's like, oh my gosh, and his eyes turn yellow, which is crazy because like that's like an episode 3 thing where his eyes turn yellow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like the implications here. And then they just have him forget everything. And I'm like, what was the point of that? Yeah. Of showing him, hated those episodes too. Of like showing him this future of his, and then like just Men in blacking him. Like, I don't know, that was a little bit weird. And those episodes, I think there were just too many episodes. I could have sent like one episode. It was like 3 or 4. I was like, oh, we do not need to be here anymore.
I stopped watching after a while after those episodes. I was like,
and then at the end, they did the thing where it's like they all wake up as if it was a dream, and I'm like, oh, don't give me that. Don't give me that crap. This is, I don't like this. It's like, there was some, you know, I guess some character progression for Anakin again. And I do like the idea that they kind of have come back to like, Anakin's the chosen one. They do not address that throughout the show, or at least they hadn't really. And then all of a sudden, here's these like very powerful beings who are like, Anakin's the chosen one. And Ahsoka's like, I don't know what the frick you're talking about. Anakin doesn't want to think about it. And then Obi-Wan's like, how do you know about this? Like, that's supposed to be a secret kind of thing. I think that's cool. And then you get to see, Aslan, Ghost form, you know, Liam Neeson. You get to see him. So that's cool. I love him. It sounded, I probably wasn't actually Liam Neeson, but the voice actor they got for him sounded just like him. I was really impressed.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I liked those things. That's what I mean. Like, there are some aspects I liked from those episodes, but it was weird. I didn't like him overall. But I'm still watching Clone Wars. That's all I'm watching, because it's long. But we're getting through it. We really are. And it's like, every once in a while, I'm like, man, this was a kid's show? Like, they're just showing people dying and torturing people, like, all the time, man. I'm like, this is a kid's show? Oh my gosh, dude. Like, brutal. Brutal.
Sweet. Well, not torture. Torture's not sweet, but
no, but you know,
yeah. Yeah, it's a show that I could never really like fully get into. I wish I would have.
I think it was definitely tough.
Yeah. There's a lot of seasons.
There are a lot of seasons, but yep.
We'll get into the news. Halo TV show was canceled. I thought it had already been canceled.
Wah, wah.
I guess it had another season. Had 2 seasons. I'm sorry for those who watched it. But I didn't really like it.
It's still extremely divisive. Yeah, I didn't care for it either.
Yeah. I think its biggest issue isn't its fault, and that is that Mandalorian came out right before it. And so everyone was like, you can't take off your helmet? And it was like, no, we need to like show character development and like this is a real person. And everyone was like, Mandalorian did it.
Mandalorian did it better.
And it's just like, you're right. We shouldn't have taken the helmet off.
Yeah.
Hey man, I kind of want to go back and rewatch season 1 and 2 of Mandalorian, but I feel like it's almost ruined knowing that season 3 exists. Isn't that sad? I wanted to just end it. Season 2 was so good.
I don't hate season 3. I just Boba Fett was what Boba Fett
Boba Fett?
It's wrong.
Why did
Yeah,
that?
they started getting cameo heavy.
Why did they do that?
Yeah, it's funny. I can't remember the actor's name who plays Boba Fett, but he was like for season 4 of Mandalorian, which they're not making a season 4, are they? It's just a movie, isn't it?
Supposedly, but I've heard rumors. That potentially they're making a season 4, but I have no idea if it's confirmed or not. They're at least doing the movie, and the movie's supposed to end it all. So
I don't remember for sure, but the guy that plays Boba Fett, he was like, I want to go into the Mandalorian show and steal an entire episode of his show.
Yeah.
Take all the glory for an episode.
Yeah.
And it was like, they did definitely mess up by bringing the Mandalorian in and just like letting him be
didn't.
way cooler than Boba Fett.
It's kind of, it was messed up.
So much cooler.
Why did they do that?
Yeah. That show could have been Star Wars Godfather.
I still think about this was a while ago. But I still think about, I think it was when season 3 was like coming out, or it was like a little after. It was maybe a month or two after season 3 had come out. And I remember my mom calling me, and she's like, so there's a season 3, and like, how's that happen with the way season 2 ended? And I'm like, Mom, you're gonna have to watch an entire different show to answer that question. And you're gonna have to watch like the last 3 episodes of this random other show. You don't even need to watch the first part of the show, and you're not gonna know what's going on in the finale.
real.
But like those couple episodes with Mandalorians in there, you need to watch that to understand the setup for season 3, or else you're gonna have all these questions. And I'm like,
It was all such a
man,
bad choice.
what a bad choice.
That's what
If you're gonna give a rated R Star Wars, Boba Fett could have been it. Rated
That
M.
could have been
Yeah.
cool. That would have been
You
neat.
definitely didn't need the moped Power Ranger gangsters.
Dude, that was. Don't remind me. Oh my gosh, the moped. Like that chase
That-
scene.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, Star Wars shows, they just like,
so rough.
they've been fumbling with chase scenes, because there was that one, and then people also were dragging Obi-Wan through the mud when there's like little kid Leia getting chased around. People were just like, this is the worst scene ever.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, they're just bad chase scenes apparently.
I know a lot of people didn't like Obi-Wan. I was good with Obi-Wan just because that ending was so good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Obi-Wan was
I
fine.
actually liked Obi-Wan.
That
People hated it, but I
battle
liked
with-
it.
That battle with Darth Vader at the end makes like that whole
Yeah.
build up worth it.
Crazy.
It was so good.
Especially watching Clone Wars
Yeah.
now, I kind of almost want to go back and like rewatch Obi-Wan, or at least parts of Obi-Wan.
Mhm.
And again, like eventually I'll think I'll watch Ahsoka, and like things will make sense too. That's the thing, is
There are
like
a
Clone
couple
Wars is
different
great,
movie
but it's
edits
like,
of Obi-Wan.
yeah.
I want to watch. I don't remember which one it is that I want to watch, but it wasn't released last I checked. But he's like doing reshoots to make this movie,
Mhm.
and then it'll like add in. It'll be one cohesive movie, but it's a visual effects artist that worked on Obi-Wan. He's doing it.
That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, can't remember his
Okay.
name. I'll have to do some digging on that. But I've been waiting for that to come out because I would love to watch that. That would be really cool.
Yes.
He makes a little castle on the Darth Vader like
Oh yeah.
lives on. I can't remember what planet that is, but he puts it on Mustafar. It makes it look.
I think it literally is Mustafar.
Okay,
It's supposed to
but
be.
it just doesn't look like Mustafar from episode 3, and so they
Right.
like fix that. He fixes that and redoes that. Just little things like that. Super cool. I really like that idea. But yeah, I don't know. Mopeds, man. And then season 3 of Mandalorian had the pirates, and it literally just looked like they took like aliens and put them in Pirates of the Caribbean clothes.
Yeah.
Sometimes Star Wars does dumb things.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But we still have Andor.
Oh gosh. It's such weird whiplash. Like again, I get that people really like hate Obi-Wan, Acolyte. I liked Obi-Wan, but like some people, and Acolyte seems either decent or bad. But it's just whiplash of going from Andor to those shows. Actually, I don't remember which one came out first, and maybe Obi-Wan came out first.
If
But
Book
it's
of
like,
Fett would have been more like Andor, it would have done better.
Yeah.
yeah, like it's just, I don't know. Again, there's different creative teams
varying
working on these
qualities.
shows, but it's
Mhm.
still crazy that you have this whiplash in quality of like something like Andor that's
Yeah.
so high up, and then everything else, even if it's halfway decent, because again, I feel like Obi-Wan was decent enough. Boba Fett was bad, but it's like when you do have something like Andor, it almost makes those things worse because then you know how good they can be
They could
if you
have made it
really
better.
care and really put that time and effort in, but then they just don't.
Yeah.
It's so upsetting. So upsetting.
Yeah, the book of if Andor's team would have done Book of Ed, that would have been a crazy show.
That would have been really
That
cool.
could have been really intense.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's what we think about Halo being canceled.
That's funny.
That's how we think about Halo.
I forgot
You're
what
right.
I forgot what news piece we were even on at that one point.
We're still about Star Wars shows, dude. There's so many.
Yeah. I was like, wait, are we still talking about Clone Wars? What?
Our next piece of news is
Anyway.
the Dune Prophecy's got a teaser trailer. And I wasn't super interested in this, but I kind of am. It looks a lot like Dune. I'm very curious how closely it'll
I hope so.
Yeah. Dune's world isn't like crazy interesting to me. The reason that I watch it is because the cinematography is just that beautiful when I watch
Yeah.
those. And so that's what's going to kind of have to keep me. And I didn't really see any of that in Dune Prophecy in the trailer, but it's a teaser trailer. So
Yeah.
if it is stylistic in that way, that show could be amazing. It's a minute long. There's not really much learn from it, so there's not much to say on it. But
More Dune is good.
yeah, we did get a release window, and that was big, so that'll be releasing sometime in November, which is cool.
Oh wow, that's that soon.
Yeah, coming up quick.
Very nice.
And then our last piece of news is that Umbrella Academy. No, we got a few different news pieces for trailers. What did you guys say was Arcane got a trailer? Didn't see the Arcane trailer.
Arcane got a trailer.
I didn't see that either.
Umbrella Academy final season. That's what I put in the notes, and that looks like fun.
Dragon Prince got a trailer.
And then Dragon Prince.
Oh yeah.
And Dragon Prince looks like it's gonna be good. I don't.
Dude,
do I dare to dream?
I am still. We're gonna have to watch this and kind of see how it is, and I am still invested enough to watch, despite my disappointment in the last couple seasons. I really am still of the opinion that they had kind of this plan that they were going for, and then Netflix was like, "We're gonna give you all of these seasons," and they did not anticipate nor need those
prepared.
seasons, and they're straight up just using filler. That is still my theory. I totally get we want time so we could explore, and we needed a different season for each elven land and culture, but they don't even dive deep into those cultures. They could have put this into just different episodes and then different seasons. I digress. I hope it's good as well, and I have a feeling that the first 3 were really good, very succinct and very connected, and then they're did we really? They probably only needed 1 more season, maybe 2. They did not need 3 more. And now that they're back to the 3rd of this second, set of 3, then it's going to be good. That's just what they do, I guess.
Hopeful.
Maybe. I'm hopeful, but I'm not that hopeful. I am cautiously optimistic, but still kind of it still could be bad. So, yeah.
We'll see. I'm an optimist.
Arcane Season
looks
2 is
good.
probably going to be
I'm
great. I'm excited for Arcane Season 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Arcane. That's coming up in September, I believe. That's coming up real soon. too.
soon. Yeah, there's some good shows coming out.
The one thing with Arcane which has me worried is I remember, I think it was a director of Adult Swim, but I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember the name. But they said the reason Arcane season 1 did so well is because they had 10 years to work on it, or 5 years to work on it, something like that.
Oh.
And so his concern was with season 2. It's even if it's a couple years apart, it's still rushed compared to what they had originally.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
Totally.
And so there was technologies that were or engines, I think, that they said they built specifically for Arcane. And so to keep up with that, they can't keep building engines. And so
Yeah.
we'll just have to see. I'm hopeful. I think it'll be good. But I remember hearing about that and kind of worrying about it. It does make a lot of sense that League of Legends was putting their complete all into that show and making sure that it succeeds. And so a season 2, no matter how much heavy you give, is going to feel a little rushed unless you wait a decade for another season, which I'm glad they didn't do. But I'm hoping that the writing at the very least is on par. And I think as long as the writing is good, the show will be good. His worry was more with the
animation and
of
stuff
it
like
all.
that.
Yeah, just because they worked so hard on the animation for that last season. But amazing show. Cool. That is all of the TV news. There is one more piece of news that I just wanted to mention because I think it's cool, and that is that a comic book is being made, the Naruto and the Ninja Turtles. I don't even
Dude,
like Naruto,
I saw that.
Did you see that?
but it's so cool.
They made a Stranger Things and TMNT crossover.
No way.
Actually,
They did.
They did some action figures. Yeah.
They did.
That's
Maybe a
crazy.
comic.
TMT, they're really the kings of crossovers. They cross over everything except
I don't know.
except
This crossover is pretty nutty too.
the one crossover I want with TMNT that would never happen, Spider-Man. It writes itself.
It could.
It writes itself.
Yeah.
It's already there. They're in New York. They're teenagers.
Yeah.
They're animal based. Like, it's perfect. They're teenage. Like, it's perfect, right? But they.
Yeah.
I don't know if they will because it's all DC oriented. But yeah, that's so funny. Well,
DC.
it's funny because I've seen a lot of TMNT Naruto merch. Like, that exists. That's existed for a while.
Yeah.
And so the fact that they didn't have like an official like comic crossover by now is kind of surprising, but now they finally do, and it totally makes sense. Now what we need to bridge the gap between Usagi Yojimbo into Naruto, because that's just that would be perfect. That would just work. But I digress. It's pretty funny though.
I'm surprised we didn't get. I go back to DC. Teen Titans Ninja Turtles. You did Batman. Why wouldn't you do the Teen Titans?
I mean,
they're all teens.
That'd be cool.
So TMNT crossed over with Power Rangers, which is Boom Studios. So, let's see. So,
I mean, Ninja Turtles did Power Rangers back in. What was it? It was
back
like
in the day too.
Yeah, like old school. There was a live action Ninja Turtle show for a very small amount of time in the 90s after the movies came out, and they took those TV show Ninja Turtle costumes and they meet the Power Rangers in space, and it literally makes no sense.
Yeah,
it was so weird, and it was only like 2 Ninja Turtles. It wasn't even all 4 of them, I don't think.
I'm trying to see who has that current comic run.
But yeah, Ninja Turtles, they can cross over with everything. I mean, Spider-Man would be really good.
IDW is the current publisher for Ninja Turtles.
The what is?
IDW is the current comic publisher. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm down with more Ninja Turtle anime in general. Like,
oh yeah,
yes please.
Give me Ninja Turtles Demon Slayer.
Oh, that'd be sick.
TMNT fans like me are eating good because there's also those games coming out. There's not only the the Hades-esque sort of roguelike one that's coming out to Switch. I know that's already been out and stuff, but like coming out to Switch is pretty big. And there's also a game that sort of features the like Mutant Mayhem Turtles also coming out.
Yeah, that's coming out later this year too.
Oh.
Yep.
Woo! I love turtles. I like turtles.
Cool.
They have a Cody Rhodes, Casey Jones action figure that I really want to get because they did a crossover with WWE recently too, and Roman Reigns is Shredder, and I'm like, that is absolutely perfect.
That's so random.
It's random, but like they're like cosplaying basically as these characters. Like,
that's cool.
That's legit.
Are we geeking out about anything else this week?
I think that's
I was just gonna mention I'm finally on the 3rd Mistborn book. I'm on Hero of Ages.
Nice.
I think by last time I had not gotten to the 3rd one, but I'm on the 3rd one. And the second one's pretty good. Not nearly as good as the first. The first book really is like so good, even self-contained. Like there's a lot of course, as Brandon Sanderson does, he opens all these questions and opens all these doors that like you want to see those resolved. And so like, that's why you kind of need those extra books. Like I'm glad there are still extra books, but at the same time, like the first book really was like this perfect heist book. And these other books just kind of aren't, which is fine. Everyone I've talked to says they like the 3rd book the best. So I just need to keep like reading and kind of see what that's about, because it was also a little bit hard to get through the 2nd book. And now that I'm on the 3rd book, I find myself kind of uninterested sometimes. So I think I just need to get back to that point where things start sort of kicking up. That's always what happens in Sanderson. Anyone who's read Sanderson knows this. You kind of have this point, usually in the beginning of a book, usually if it's like a sequel. Where it's a little bit of a lull, you're kind of like getting reintroduced back in the world a lot of the times, because there's still space between books. He's a madman. He turns them around very fast, but not that fast, right? Like not literally immediately. So you still, you know, he reintroduces you back into the world and like all these sort of concepts and like all the characters, and that's fine. That's good, especially if you take breaks between the books, like a lot of people do. But it's also like, I want to get back into the action of things, and you kind of have to wait until that point. And then there's the Sanderlanche, which is at the last part of the book, and then it just keeps going and going, and then your mind's blown, and then it's amazing. So I'm not there yet. I still have to get there. But yeah. Good so far. Yeah.
Nice.
Go back to comics real quick. I also forgot there's a Teen Titans comic that's also been announced. We mentioned Teen Titans.
Really?
It's a continuation of the old show.
No way.
Yeah.
That's Oh, I'm signing up. There's been a really cool I know where the show, but it just reminded me. There's this other there's this guy who did a bunch of fan art for Teen Titans, like just a bunch of cool like famous Teen Titans fan art, and they hired him as an artist for these sort of spin-off comics of Teen Titans that definitely are not connected. They're like a new canon, basically, a different canon, a different alternate universe of like Teen Titans and like how they get together, and they're pretty sweet. There's only a couple so far, but they're all kind of focused on different Titans. So they have one for and it's Beast Boy and Raven are like a thing, and I think that was like one of the main things is that the artist like ships them a lot, of Beast Boy and Raven, and so they like made these books of like kind of them becoming friends, becoming a couple, and then now they also have, so they have one for Beast Boy, they have one for Raven, they have one called Beast Boy and Raven, and then they have Robin and Starfire is coming out next, I believe. I don't know when. It may already be out even. Last time I checked it,
These
it
are
was
full
always
comics?
out. And they're but they're not very long, but they are full comics. I recommend them if anything, just for the art. Like the story's kind of mid, but I like the art a lot, and I kind of like it's a very different interpretation of the Teen Titans, like super different, very teen focused, in kind of a different direction. So I like it a lot. There's also what's cool is you have two different Robins, because you have Dick Grayson, but then you also have
Jason Todd.
the other one.
Yeah.
So
Probably Jason Todd.
Jason Todd, yes, that's what I was trying to remember his name. And there's some original characters
Yeah,
too
Tim
that
Drake,
are neat. So I definitely recommend checking it out. I do not remember the guy's name. He's only the artist. He's not the writer. There's a different writer, but I would check those out. They're fun.
That's sweet.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, we will end the podcast there. Again, this is episode 392, and so we've got 8 episodes after this one, before we take a bit of a break.
Yeah.
For episode 400. It's really exciting. We're excited for 400, and then we don't know quite what the future holds yet, but
a lot of good, exciting change happening within the ministry, and I think there's just having hiatuses, having some pauses, having some changes is just kind of what's going to happen. So
it'll be substantial, a substantial break, but make sure you're tuning in every week until we get to 400, when we're counting it down, because it's crazy, and it's coming up really fast. So Shelley, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at TheShellshock24.
And LJ, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter under LJ the Paladin.
You can find me on Instagram at Cody Armour. Keep gaming, keep praying, and God bless.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Geeks Under Grace podcast. We love hearing from you, so feel free to ask us questions or just comment on the show by using the hashtag GUGcast on Twitter, or by joining the GUGcast questions channel in the Geeks Under Grace Discord. If you like this episode, consider leaving a review or rating of our show on your favorite podcast app. If you want even more Geeks Under Grace, you can always go to geeksundergrace.com. We love you all so much, so thank you for listening.